What's up, you guys? Hope all is well today. I am Nia. For those of you guys who don't know, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for all your support, you guys. I really do appreciate y'all. And if you're new here, welcome. Hope all is well with everyone. As y'all can see by the title today, we're going to be talking about lust because I truly do believe lust is the root of all evil. Lust has been a big part of evil in my life. Not all things that has happened has, well, I mean, it's been a big part. Let's just say that. And as I talked to y'all a bit about this in my celibacy video. How lust affected me. Lust is what made me get into certain situations, in certain situationships. It has led me, down a path that could have ended my life, and ultimately the trauma from that made me become celibate. And I realized that sex ain't worth it. It's not worth my life. It's not worth, everything that it comes with. So we want to talk about that today. Um, so I'm gonna do like the what, where, how of lust. What is lust? Where does it come from? Who's affected by it? Why do we allow it to destroy us? And then how to overcome it. So that's what this video is going to be about, because that's a battle that I faced that I have now overcome. And it's not to say that I don't think about stuff still. It's just like I think about what comes with it. So I'm much more intentional about what I do. Even with my thoughts, if things come up in my mind, thinking back about things that I once used to do, involving lust, I just have to snap out of it. I rebuke them thoughts and be like, no, girl, like, you know what that led to. And it's just not worth it when you think about it in the grand scheme of things of what the aftermath of lust is, what the effects of lust is. Then you'll rethink things before you do it, hopefully. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So first, let's start off with what is the definition of lust. So lust is the disordered desire for or inordinate enjoyment of sexual pleasure. So the disordered desire for an excessive enjoyment of sexual pleasure. Sexual pleasure is morally disordered when sought for itself, isolated from its procreative and unitive purposes. A person can have a lust for power, material things, but its moral and spiritual usage for the term lust typically refers to sexual activity. So you can have a lust for power, you can have a lust for material things. Ultimately, a lot of everything, to me, lust breeds all the other sins because of your desire. It's a strong desire. It's covetousness. It's the wanting to covet what other people have. Seeing things, you can see many of things. You can see objects. You can see beautiful body structures. You can see these things, but to yearn for it, to yearn, to want to know how it feels, to know what you can get it to do for you, to serve your selfish gain, that's when it becomes excessive, and that's when it becomes immoral, and that's where it can lead to corruption. Of course, it's natural for us to, we're humans and we're designed to procreate with one another. It's inevitable, but it's what extent you're willing to go for it, who you willing to backdoor for it, who, just doing it for selfish gain. Like, are you the only one benefiting of it? So we're really going to talk about that because to me, that's a big problem within like relationships because people get selfish. As I stated in one of my other videos, like relationships don't have to be as hard as we make it. We make relationships harder than they have to be because of selfishness, of greed. You want to possess someone to do what, and you want them to do what you want them to do, but you're not giving that equal reciprocity. And even when it comes to having sex, a lot of people aren't getting what they need out of it. So that's why I just feel like, what's the point of it? And even when you're getting what you need out of the sex, once you remove sex from the picture, what does this person have to offer? How do they stimulate you mentally? How do they make you feel spiritually? Can you rely on them? Can you trust them? Can they show up for you in the ways they need to, in the ways you need them to? And can you do the same for them? So it's like, you got to think about it from both sides. Okay, am I getting pleased with the sex? Okay, if you're not, why are you having it? And the intent for sex is to procreate. God wanted us to bear children. He wanted to reproduce and populate the earth. That was according to his will for humans. That was according to his plan. So we have to do things according to his plan. And of course, If it wasn't pleasurable, we wouldn't want to do it. We only do things because it's pleasurable to us. If you think about everything that you do, you don't just do stuff for the most part just to do it. You do it because you benefit from it beyond, just like in this instance, beyond just making the babies. It's pleasurable. And he had to make us have these hormones, dopamine, and all of that to feel pleasure when doing it, to make us do it so that we can accomplish the will that he has set forth for us. But outside of creating babies, if you're not having the sex to create the babies, ultimately we really shouldn't be just doing it, just saying casual sex and all of that. We shouldn't just be having casual sex, because when you're having sex, two are becoming one. That's ultimately marrying one. That's before this government got involved in marriage. Marriage was spiritual. And marriage is supposed to be spiritual. God never switched up his plans for marriage. Humans got into play and they got into office and they wanted to do things once again for their gain, to benefit off of what God designed for a certain purpose. And if you look at all the people who married in the Bible, it never once said that they went down to the courthouse and they had a priest to just marry them and all of this and all of that and made up the vows and all of that. Those vows are not in the Bible. Those vows ain't in the Bible. So them coming together, him knowing her, it always say, and they knew her. The man knew her, which means he came into her. They had sex. They became one. You become one with the person when his penis come into your vagina. You become one. That's the only way two pieces of flesh can become one together. You have to become one spiritually, getting your soul tied into her soul and become one. And that's what creates soul ties. And you become tied to the person, because every time you stick your meat in her, it's creating a soul tie. Your souls are locked in together because your soul is meshing with hers. So this is something that we need to think about when we having casual sex and you just having sex with all these people, and then you wonder why you carrying all these spirits around. It's because you carrying spirits from another person because you didn't lay down and had sex with them. So we're gonna really just go into this, you guys, but ultimately lust leads us to going against God's will for us. It causes us to break his commandments, break his structure of the way he ordered things to be for us as a people. And it's all for worldly reasons, selfish reasons. So we're going to talk about lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh. So where does lust come from? What starts it? So lust of the eyes is when we see something visually that incites covetousness and jealousy and sexual lust. Lust of the eyes. So what you see a girl, and now all of a sudden you see her body. She got a nice body. Look at our social media. It's nothing but lust of the eyes, especially Instagram. It's nothing but lust of the eyes. It serves no true purpose. If you're following only content or people, influencers, and it's all about body, and you can see on there how the girls are just being naked all online, just promoting lust. They're luring the men in through lust of the eyes, through your eye gates. This is why you have to be careful about what you're watching, what you're consuming. We'll get to that. But lust of the eyes is seeing things and then you wanting it. And even for the women, we see men with that look like they got money and they look like they stylish and flashy. They got the nice cars. We're attracted to things by what we see. And I said this too in my celibacy video, like anything gets women attention. The first thing Eve saw, it got her attention, for she saw how beautiful it appeared to be. And when you see how beautiful something appears to be, you will want it. You will long for it. You will yearn for that thing until you have it. And then everything that you yearn for, and then it comes to you, it might not be good for you. Oftentimes it's not good for you. But even for everything we have in our house, we don't just have stuff in our house just to have it. We have our lust of the eyes, our desire for the things that we laid our eyes on. We saw these things and now it's like, oh, gotta have that, gotta have that. It might not even really be in budget. It might not even really be useful, but it's pretty. And that's one thing as women, we love pretty things. We love flashy things. We love things that just catches our eyes. We like the sparkling ornaments, the bedazzles. We like that stuff. And and men do too. They more so use their lust of the eyes looking at women, the beautiful structures of women. And then you think in your head, you got these thoughts in your head that you conjure up about what you can do with that you see. Things that we see and we think are pretty, even if we don't need it, even if we know it's not in budget, we don't want it, we still be like, we find a reason. What can we use that for? And in a sexual sense, men and women, we do that with each other because as women, we too look at a man's body, we too looking at his print, we too looking at that, and we think about, what am I going to do with that? How I'm gonna do this and that to that. When if you ever dealt with somebody, and you be like, and you see, and they send you a picture, you be like, dang, you get to talking to them, like what you would do to them and what you won't do to that, you know, it's because of what you seeing. And now you thinking, you conjuring up thoughts in your head, like, you fixating on it, you ruminating on it. And that's ultimately what lust is. It's like, it's okay to, we're human. We see nice things. We see beautiful people. We're beautiful beings. We see, and we all are different. So of course you want to see, you're going to experience that, but it doesn't mean to act on that and then to fixate on that. And that was a issue that when I think about, one of my experiences, I was talking like that to the guy, like when I see you, this, that, and that, do. And through the sexual act, through fornication, through that act, when I was, doing the do, and he was like, "You trying to make me crazy?" Well, he said, "You gonna make me crazy over you." And at the time, I'm not thinking nothing of it. Like, I'm like, well, actually, I am. I'm like, yeah, I'm snatching that soul, ain't I? Like, yeah. And ultimately, it turned out really bad. What started off letting the lust lead us, letting the lust lead me. He let the lust lead him. Men will let the lust lead them. They will drive hours to see you. These men will fly you out. Y'all really out here doing this stuff. And then when you get with the person, it's lust that drove you. The one video that I recently saw, because everybody's on Instagram and the guys are posting up like they in penthouses on jets, and everything is a facade. Social media is an illusion. It's not real. Like you can be whatever you want to be on there. They have literal like jets where they rent it out just for social media pictures, so people can go and act like they're on a jet, like that's their lifestyle. But the whole time you just go in there and take a picture and leave. Like, so you sell facades through social media. Women use all the filters, put on makeup, contour their body with all the apps and stuff, whatever they call Photoshop and all of that. It's an illusion. So when people get in person, like in this video, he exposed the girl. And then, this is what catfishing is. But honestly, with this situation, he exposed the girl. Like, she got there, he flew her out. She got there. She didn't look like what her Instagram pictures was. So he says, but he was showing the Instagram picture, and then she was sitting at the edge of the bed. I don't know if y'all saw that video go viral. I think I saw it on like Facebook or something. And he was like, she don't look like this picture. Like, he was basically trying to out her, saying she was catfishing him. And she just sitting there. She didn't really want to show her face. But when she did turn to the side, when she did turn around for a brief second, she looks pretty to me still. Like, she does look like her picture. She's not as made up, and the lighting isn't, you can tell in the picture you got lighting, you're doing things. Every pictures, they're trying to make a beautiful picture. Even when you take regular pictures at the photo place, they're going to use certain lighting. They're going to edit it to make it look popping. It's to create your catalog. And a lot of times Instagram, that's what they're doing. Instagram models and all, they're creating a catalog. And a lot of them do it to sell for their brand, so they can get brand deals and they can promote products and make money and all of that. And then, of course, some of them take it to OnlyFans to further make money. And men are suckers for it. Men are suckers for it. That's why women get to extort you men, because your desire to be pleased through your eye gates. You don't have no control over yourself. And we're going to get to that. But the video with the girl, this is what happened. She said too, like, and you said you was in a penthouse. Your TV on the floor. This ain't no penthouse. Like, look at how what she saw and what he saw, they both saw different things in each other. He saw how she looked and whatever he desired to do to her face. People have some crazy things they like to do during sex. You know, he might, whatever it is he was ruminating on, what he would do with her face, with her body structure, and all type of things. And then you create in your mind who this person might be because of how they look. So you formulate an opinion on them and think that they're this, and they can, you can perform the things you see in them flicks. You think you could perform that on this girl because maybe this girl looks like the same girl from the flick. So now in your head, you're like, oh, I got me one of those girls from the flicks, and she's going to do these wild things to me. And then when it turns out not to happen, now you're mad, you're upset. But look at how the lust led them to each other. Neither one of them were pleased. It could have got bad because he's like, you need to leave. You need to leave. She's like, I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. Like, because I don't know the case because sometimes it depends on how the flight is. If he booked um a round trip ticket for her, a round trip flight, then maybe it wasn't time for her to leave yet. And where was she going to go? Who knows? A lot of these girls don't have money and get flown out. They get flown out to see these guys, and then if you don't either have sex with them, or they even go on vacations with these guys, and if you don't do the things that he wants you to do, now all of a sudden he want to get rid of you, and now you don't have no money or you don't have no plan B. So now you're forced to either stay and deal with him, or you're going to be just out on your own. So in that situation, it could have got dangerous, because if he really wants you out and he started gathering his stuff, I didn't see the whole rest of the video because I think he stopped recording or something. But if you just see that scenario, and this happens a lot, it happens a lot. And it could have got dangerous because he could have off that girl if he was really mentally insane, which he kind of is, for you to want to put her out, put her on blast on social media. All y'all had to do was be like, look, we both thought I thought you had a penthouse. This is a regular little apartment, and this ain't no penthouse. You ain't all you cracked up to be. You ain't got the money you say you have. I ain't got the look that you really, desiring, that you thought I was. But we're here now. What we gonna do? Like, but it can get dangerous. It can lead to unhappiness. It can lead to your demise. I know it. That's why I just, and then even if you have the sex, sometimes it can cause people, we'll talk about that in a minute. Where else does it come from? Lust of the flesh. So what is lust of the flesh? It's seeking to gratify fleshly bodily desires at the cost of morality. So basically it's focusing on what's good for the body versus what's good for the soul. And we already know, what is the scripture say? For what should it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? If you're so eager to gain worldly things and you don't care about what it costs you, or you don't care about what you got to do for it, you don't care about who you backdoor to get it, how you deceive someone to get it, that is worldly. That is of the enemy. That is satanic. That is diabolical. You don't want to go against your morals for anybody, just to have companions, just to have company, for somebody's money, just for sex. If you put your morals to the back burner, you're going against God's will for you, and you're inviting evil into your life. And then when the evil starts to manifest and it triple fold, you can't get mad. You got to deal with the consequences that come with that because of your lustful desires. And everybody like to bang this free will theory. So if you have free will, you have the free will to make the good choice or the bad choice. And when you make the bad choice, you get what you get. I'm getting ready to take it there. So where else does lust come from? Sexual abuse in childhood. Many people out here, many of us who have been sexually abused in our childhood, we have a lustful spirit on us. We're hypersexual, and now we just want to bang, 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 choo choo train, everything that's walking out here. We have a desire to feel that feeling, that to seek that pleasure and to make others be pleasurable to them because of unhealed childhood wounds. And I'm gonna get down to that because we're gonna really talk about how we're gonna go into depth about how this truly affects us. This is real. So before I go in depth to who is affected by the lust and what are the effects of lust, I want to talk about how lust also comes from the agendas, the demonic agendas being pushed out into the media, and we consume it through our gates, through our eye gates first and our ear gates. We consume it there first. Things that we're seeing in the media, online, in movies, in the flicks that y'all like to watch. And now you want to recreate these scenes, and the music you listening to, it's poisoning you because you listen to what they saying and what they doing. I think I was talking about this in the video about how Satan uses the music to corrupt humans. So y'all gotta check that video out. But through our portals, they get into us. These demonic spirits will latch onto us, get into us, and now it starts to wreak havoc within us. And now we start to having these desires all off of what we see. You can't just sit there and watch a flick and not start feeling a way about it. You can't just sit on Instagram watching these big booty Judies all over the place, and men body structures and men money and all these things. You can't watch this stuff and then just not feel no way about it. This is why you have to control what you're consuming through your gates. Let's go ahead and get into the effects of lust, because y'all better gird your loins, hold on tight. This ain't to offend nobody. This is real rap about what really be going on. Because of the effects of lust, having that desire on you and not knowing how to maintain it and control it. And like I said, lust is the worst sin because it stirs up all the other deadly sins. So y'all, I have a little outline here just so I stay on track and don't get long-winded, because I got ADHD. I will get long-winded. So the first thing I said is it leads to fornication, which then leads to STDs, leads to unwanted babies, aka abortions, leads to child sacrifice, because when you have those abortions, that's child sacrifice, and that's a blood sacrifice. And when you do a blood sacrifice, you're now signing a deal with the devil unknowingly. You're going into covenant with him because you're doing what he wants you to do, and that's going against God's will. Anytime you go against God's will, that is of the enemy. You're doing a satanic sacrifice. It's demonic. God said not to shed innocent blood. That is one of the 7 things he hates. A man that sheds innocent blood. Innocent blood. That's what he said. He hates anyone who sheds innocent blood. Babies are innocent blood. When you go have an abortion, what is the blood is going to leak out of you? You're killing a life. You're taking a life. Whether you want to believe it or not, I'm pro-life. Y'all already know, if you're new here and you ain't never heard a video with me talking about it, I'm pro-life. Because it's about taking preventative measures versus post measures. You laying up with people that you don't really like, you're not really into, because of your sexual desire, because of that lust on you. We get in relationships with people that we don't really know, let alone like. We're getting pregnant super easily because we're not using protection, because once again, our selfishness of wanting to feel all the pleasure that comes from it. All the pleasure that comes from going raw. We go raw with these people because of the pleasure. And then we think nothing about the after effect. And then people are wondering why. I mean, it's natural, period. As humans, we're going to have spiritual attacks. We're going to have Satan trying to get after us. But when you willingly sign deals for the devil, you open doors for constant evil to present itself in your life. And it be these same women and guys, because the guys will be telling the girls to get the abortions, and the girls will be going to get hella abortions. Like, how do you just keep letting somebody go up in you, scraping, doing all of that mess up in you? You don't care about what you put in with, like, what's going in your body. You don't care about how you're letting them, whatever they do. I never had an abortion. I told y'all before, I considered having an abortion with my second baby, just because my lust led me to dealing with her dad. I didn't really like that boy like that. I mean, he was cool, but I knew I didn't see no future with him because he was immature to me. I was not interested, and he wasn't even my type. I wasn't into him like that. But once we, spent some time together and we had a little rendezvous, we had a nice little experience 4th of July weekend. My feeling of needing intimacy, which I forgot to say here about the emptiness causes lust. Things, that's one of the causes of lust. When you're feeling empty, when you feel like it's things that you're missing in life, you'll do anything to get it. you'll do anything to get it. And that'll make you covet the things you don't have because you're yearning for the things that you don't have. Me at that time, I was craving intimacy because I didn't get it from the other dude I was dealing with. I didn't get it in my last relationship. So I'm craving intimacy. And that's the thing that this guy, my second BD, that's the thing that he brought to the table. He brought intimacy. And then that led me to keep dealing with him because look, at least you fulfilling this need. But once you get that need met, because one thing about lust, it's insatiable. It's insatiable. You will never be satisfied. It's always going to be levels to it. It's always going to be levels to it. Once you want this, once you get this, okay, what's next? You're going to want more. You're going to want more. And that's what it was for me. But once I took, even when sex was still in the picture, I'm like, when I started to put that to the side and be like, okay, what do you have as a being that you can help me with? Like, how can we coexist with one another? Are we really compatible? We're not really compatible. You don't have a vision for your life. I have a vision for mine. So if we don't have the same vision, what are we working towards? Where is this relationship going to go? Because I have a vision for my life. And this was supposed to just be something to do when it was nothing to do. And it led to me constantly spending more time with you. And then I got pregnant with you. And I wanted a baby. So me wanting a baby anyway, of course I kept my baby. But what made me consider having the abortion was the fact that I knew that he really wasn't in position to be no daddy. Yeah, he was saying that he wanted the baby. He was mad at me for considering an abortion and for scheduling an abortion because he wanted the baby and he was calling me a murderer and stuff like that. He was saying that, but ultimately I knew I didn't want to really get rid of my baby. But I just was thinking about, I know he's not really equipped for this. And now it's going to put me in a position to end up being a single mother, doing everything by myself because you're not really in position. You're really immature still, But like I was saying about the abortions, you're going into blood covenants. And when you do those blood covenants, when you do those sacrifices with the enemy and you sign deals, shake hands with the enemy, you're going to deal with that for the rest of your life. And now it's going to get passed on for generations to come. That's going to create the generational curses. A lot of us don't know a lot of the wicked from our family is because of stuff our ancestors did. A lot of the stuff that we face in our lives because of the things that our parents, the oaths our parents signed with the enemy, whether they knew what they were doing or didn't know what they were doing. They made these blood sacrifices to them through abortions. That's the number one way to see. It said it is 1.3 million abortions happening in the U.S. every year. And we're going to really talk more about this in another video because we're going to talk about this because of the birth dearth. This is something that we're going to talk about that in the abortion video because I'm going to do a video strictly about abortions because y'all going to stop killing these kids. Stay off your back. Stop laying up with men, going raw. This is for the men too. But ultimately, the woman is the one who goes and get the abortion. Stop laying up with people you really don't like, really don't see no future with. You're really incompatible with them. You're just doing something to have something to do because it's nothing to do because you're horny and you have no self-control over your horniness. This lust and stuff leads to fornication, then which leads to STDs. And what is fornication? Let's talk about what is fornication. So according to my dictionary, my ancient dictionary that I bought at the yard sale, fornication is a crime under the ark, meaning it's a crime of impurity between unmarried persons. Figuratively, it's infidelity to God. And nothing ruins man more than fornication. Nothing ruins man more than fornication because your desire, your sexual immorality, fornication is ultimately sexual immorality. It goes against the principles and values of what sex was created for. It perverted sex. It perverts it and it ruins man. Nothing ruins man more than fornication. In that Bible study video, in the Job Bible study video, I was reading that scripture. Let me go to it because I wrote it down here. About how the mom, the advice from Lamech, was not Lamech, what was his name? Lemuel. And the advice that his mom gave him was not to give your strength and all your energy to women because they will ruin you. They will take you from your throne. Many men face it out here. You get with Jezebel women who only after you for your money. You get with gold diggers because you lead with your money and she's now lusting after your money, and you leave with that. Now she's there for your money, and then when she takes all your money and take everything you got, set you up, get her other dude that she really like, when he coming in and rob you for everything you got. Now you're mad, now you're hurt, now you're feeling betrayed. Or when she used you till she get up and good her own self, because she came from nothing. So she used you for your money. She come in and put on an act. She might put it down on you in the bedroom through sex, through fornicating, through sexual immorality, because she might be so freaky with it. She do things that other girls don't do, or he do things that other guys don't do. So now you're attached to people because of how good the D is and how good her cooch is. Now you're creating these soul ties to one another, and now you're being used. One person might be getting used more than the other, and then when they take off on you because they got what they wanted and they take off on you, now you're feeling unhappy. You're destitute. You're feeling empty. Now you have another void within you. Now you feeling unworthy. Your self-esteem is depleting. You're feeling insecure. So you have to think about the aftermath that this stuff causes, which is what we're going to talk about in a little bit. But that's what fornication is. And the scripture that I wanted to read was from Proverbs 31:3. So I was talking about this in the Proverbs 31 woman video about the Proverbs 31 woman. And the mother of Lemuel was telling him, like, this is the scripture, she said, give not your strength to women, nor your ways to that which destroy kings. Basically, men spend too much of their lifetime chasing coochie, chasing things that you, after lustful desires, after coveting, you end up coveting other people's, we'll get there because I'm getting up in front of myself. But you'll waste so much time, and then in the end, you're left by yourself. You're left in the nursing home. You didn't covet it after so many women. You didn't. Let's go back and let's get to, because I'm gonna list all of these things of how lust affects us, the truth about how it really affects us. So number one, like I said, it leads to STDs. People don't even care about STDs no more. You just so horny. You don't even care. You like, and I was there too. I'm like, I'm risking it all. Shoot, I'm going raw with you. I don't know what you got. Don't even know you like that. You probably, most of these men don't go to the doctors like they supposed to. Like, they don't do none of that. Yeah, we be ready to risk it all going raw in them, as if they really even want to tell us, even if they know they got something, they're not going to tell you. But you risking it all, not caring about the STDs. It's not just the babies that you need to worry about from going raw with these people, from fornicating with these people. It's about the STDs too. It's life or death when you lay down with the person. It's life or death when you lay down with these people. And then when you get something that can't be cured, now you're feeling hurt still. So look at how you're still going to be hurt. You might as well go without. So if it's painful to go without the sex, if it's painful not to give into the lust, it's even more painful when you give into it because of these effects. Let's go on to the next effect, because we don't want to make this video over an hour today. The next effect, childless fathers, child support, and neglectful mothers. So how does lust lead to childless fathers? So let's be A1 about this if we want to be real. Because we don't be knowing people, and because we be dealing with people, our lust drives us to deal with a man or a woman. Mostly I'm going to speak from the woman aspect. I mean, it's really both. You'll know that this man has a family, has a wife, has a girl, but your lust for him, you thinking that you put the sex on him because you desire him so bad. You have this strong desire for this man. And then he's desiring you back, and he don't care. Look at it. This creates broken homes. A lot of the women that's gotten cheated on, that caused them to divorce their husbands and to leave relationships, it's because the man did not care about the commitment that he made to the woman at home with him. And because of his own desires, his yearn for something new, something different than what he has at home. You yearning for these things. You're longing for what this woman might be able to do that your woman don't do, because you just want the best of both worlds. Selfishness, greed. This is why I say lust promotes all the other sins. It promotes greed. It promotes the sloth. It promotes sloth. Because by you being lustful, lusting after this person and seeking sexual desires from this other person, you'll start getting lazy, which is slothfulness, for what you're supposed to be doing at home with the one you're committed to. You'll risk everything you have to go out and have a good one-night stand with somebody. Your woman find out, Or furthermore, you go out and this one night stand lead to you getting this girl pregnant. Now she got a baby and she telling you, I'm pregnant with you now. I'm pregnant by you. Now it messes up your family. She leaves you. Most women will leave. Only goofy women stay after baby has been after outside baby has been made on them. I said what I said. It leads to that. Now it's the outside baby. And even if you stay, now you looking down at this baby every time it come around. Or now you just angry. You got this bitterness that you hide inside because you never really get over that type of stuff. You never really, every time that baby come around, it shows how your person, your husband, they betrayed you. It always signifies betrayal. Every time you have to see that baby, or every time you have to talk about that situation, or every time that man gets put on child support, and now it affects the funding from your family. Because now money got to go to an outside child. Look at how it plays. It causes us to have no fathers because a lot of women out here having sex with men, you don't know who your baby daddy is, or even if you do know who it is, he don't want nothing to do with you because he only was there for a good time, and a good time led to you getting pregnant, and you ain't want to get rid of the baby because you know you don't believe in abortion, or maybe you just didn't want to get an abortion because you want a child. It goes so many different ways, and now the child has to grow up with no father. Or in my case, it causes you to have a stalker baby daddy, a baby daddy who's just so obsessed with you. It causes them to have obsessive lover disorder over you because of that. And now they feel like they own you. It causes possession. They see you as a possession because of the lust, because of the freaky things you do with them, and they don't want you doing it with nobody else. So now it's like, okay, it's either I have you or no one have you. And now I'm gonna take your life. Look at what's going on Twisted Crimes. Look at what's going on Twisted Crimes. I told you I watch Twisted Crimes on YouTube and Viral Crimes. Look at what happens on there. Most of these women get killed because the men that they was in a relationship with, it bred envy within them. Because like I said, lust stirs up all the other deadly sins. You getting with a person, lust led it, and then you begin to covet what other people have. You desire what they have. And if they don't want to give it to you, even women in their relationships and marriages, their significant other will take advantage of them, the R word, your own wife, because she don't want to have nothing today. And because your power for control, your need to control, your need to possess what someone else has, and you don't care about how you're making no one else feel, and you'll do these things. It gets so bad. The one story that I saw on Twisted Crimes, so the guy, it was an older guy and a younger woman. The older guys be liking younger women, for all the reasons that they like them. And, he got with the girl. But younger women are only seeking older men for stability, for their money. And it's like when men learn to understand that, women, we are often driven by money because lust of the eyes for us too. We want other things. It ain't even just about you. It's about us having our hair done, nails done, buying pretty things that we love for our house and that we want to gift for our kids, buying shoes, purses, lust for those things, the desire for those things, the strong urge to desire something leads you to get with men that you don't really care, but they lusting after you. And you're like, all right, fine, I'll deal with you because you getting lust of the flesh, I'm getting lust of the eyes. What you going to provide me monetarily is going to allow me to buy the things that I want. And you marry these people, you get with your sugar daddies, they get possessive over you because you're theirs. And like in this story, it's so bad that the man wanted to, the wife, the young wife, I think started cheating on him or something. So he wanted to get rid of her, like take her out this world. Because that's how some of these men operate. If I can't have you, no one can. Same with some women. It's some women like that too. You'll see it all on here. You'll see that on here. And he hired a hitman. Like he hired a hitman to get his wife gone. It's so bad that the hitman, the lust that the hitman had for his wife, you couldn't even do your job as the hitman because you started sleeping with the girl. So you couldn't even do your job because you started lusting after this girl too. Now you didn't even feel right doing the hit. So now he had to pay another man to do the hit. And they done lured her out into nowhere, set her on fire, stabbed her all up. It was brutal. It was gruesome what they did to that woman. All because of lust. All because of lust. So men, you don't want to be on child support, yet you having sex with women just to have it. You had no intentions on really building with this girl. You were just having a good time. She looked good. And now it's a child in play. And then you want to negate your responsibilities. You want to act like, okay, I don't have to. You want to neglect your responsibilities. And now she like, no, you're going to step up for this baby. And now you want child support because of your horniness. Look what horniness gets us. Neglectful mothers. You'll neglect your own kids because of your lust for another man. You'll neglect your own kids. This can go so many ways. You'll turn on your own kids. Look how many women do it. You turn on your own kids because you lusting after a new man that you just got. Now you don't care. You bringing him in the house, not paying enough attention to your own children, not seeing what this, you brought this devil into your house who looking at your children, who want to get busy with your children, take their innocence, which is what we getting. We coming up on that. I might as well just go ahead into it. That leads to molestation, which then leads to homosexuality, which then leads to confused sexual identity. Look at the ripple effect. You lusted after a person. You don't really know this dude like that, but you move him in your house. Or the vice versa, because there's many women out there who do it too. I saw the one case, it was the girlfriend. She done been touching on his daughter. He was a single dad, got with this girl, and she done got to touching on the 3-year-old girl. And the dad put a camera up or something. No, he looked through her phone because she was recording what she was doing to the little girl in her phone. And he went through the girl's phone and he saw what was going on with his daughter. Lust from these type of people, lust from the predators, it causes them to touch on other children, to touch on other people because of their desire that to seek that pleasure, to get pleased. They don't care that they're taking a kid's innocence. They don't care. They're demonic and they don't care what they're doing to the other person, but they're seeking their pleasure, that urge, that insatiable desire to be pleased and to have that pleasure. You will bring people around your kids thinking that they're this because you don't really know them. We really don't be getting a chance to know people. Disney got y'all all screwed up with love at first sight. It's possible, but it's not probable. This is why most of relationships don't work. This is why divorce rate is high, because people don't wait on their God-ordained spouse, their God-ordained partner. You go get with people because you want to. Because of your desire, because of your emptiness, your loneliness, you feel empty. Voids that we have inside, you feel like you're missing something. You feel like you're missing something. You was rejected as a kid. You was abandoned as a kid because of your neglectful parents. They chose the liquor over you. They chose their friends over you. They chose the streets over you. So now you're looking for somebody to fill that void, and you willing to get with anybody. Them temporary satisfactions. You get with these people, y'all, the lust is leading the whole thing, because lust is leading it when you first get with somebody. If you ain't spending time, like, you don't really love somebody until you really get to know who they are. When you first meet somebody, I can't say, oh, I just love. You don't know them. You don't even know if you're compatible with them. The lust is driving it. And then over time, you get to know if they're interested in getting to know you, getting to know about your past, they want to know about your future, what your goals are. Let's make a plan for our life. If people ain't really trying to make a plan for your life, for y'all life together, if y'all not coming together to try to build, it's lust, which most of this stuff out here that's going on is lust. And lust will open the door for the devil to come in your house and then wreak havoc on you and your children. And then you tell them when the stuff happened to the children, everybody acting like, oh, I didn't know. But it was right under your nose. It was happening right under your nose. And we know that's a big thing in this community. And period. It's a big thing going on, period. Not just in our community. Brushing stuff under the rug. Acting like you don't see that daddy, stepdaddy, the boyfriend, the girlfriend, these women are doing these things to your kids. We'll say that story for another day, because I got a whole video I'm gonna do about that. Y'all know I'm an advocate for child sex abuse. Is rampant. 1 in 4 girls are getting abused sexually. 1 in 13 boys are getting abused sexually. So if you really think about this, I forgot to finish my thought right here. But what I was saying is, if you really think about this, if you think about our children's classrooms, there's only about 20 to 22 students per class. If it says 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 13 boys, that means at least 4 girls, at least 5 girls. We want to just give them benefit of the doubt. 4 girls and at least 1 boy in each class is getting sexually abused. Like, we have to think about this. This is why you have those bad kids, the one bad child in the class, the one bad boy, the one bad girl. You have the chaos in the class. The kids can't focus. This is why these kids go to school, can't focus in school because of what's going on at home, the mental stuff that's going on in their head. We have to really think about this. And it all stems from lust. This is a problem. And 23% is children on children. I told y'all my own story. Molested by a child, another child, coerced into giving head to him. And that was young. And then I took that and I was so sexual. I was hypersexual until I ran into this final situation where I'm like, I'm done with sex. Because I realized it's caused more pain in my life than it had. It done more harm than good. The only good that really came out of it was me coming into my spirituality, me learning my purpose because God set me down with my baby. Me getting pregnant with my baby was the best blessing I could have ever had. I'm glad that I didn't get no abortion because it was her who allowed me to really get to know God. It was me becoming celibate, which really led me into my relationship with God. So let's keep going. So the other effects of lust. It leads to envy and covetous of your neighbor's woman or man, which is breaking the 10 commandments. It leads us into breaking the 10 commandments. We get to getting into idolatry, which all the 10 commandments talks about this. Don't covet your neighbor's wife. You'll see your own homeboy, your own sister's man, and you'll go after your sister's man. You'll go after your own brother's woman. You'll go after your own family, significant others because of your lust. Wanting to desiring what's not yours. Covenant is desiring something that's not yours and wanting to possess it for it to become yours. Let's give an actual definition. To covet means to long to possess, especially what belongs to another. To desire unreasonably or unlawfully. To have strong desire, excessively eager, greed for gain. Your greed for gain of wanting to take what someone else has. Like these the Lesters want to do. You want to take what someone else's, take the purity of someone else's, because you're pushing a satanic agenda of wanting to steal innocence. Satan don't like innocence. This is why they promote nothing but destruction to us, using social media, using these rappers, using the TV, using these shows. They've been doing that for years with y'all. Well, with us. With us, period. From what we're watching. Like I said, it leads to idolatry because anything or anyone that you feel you can't live without more than a relationship with God is idolatry, period. We're going to go over all the sins because gluttony is a big thing. I still am working on my gluttony. That's why I do a lot of fasting because it's like I be trying to show God, like, I do love food, but I don't love food more than you. I will fast for you. But once the fast is over, I go right back into the same thing. So that's still something I'm trying to defeat. That's the way the enemy. That's the biggest fight, and I'm going to defeat that fight one day. I've defeated lust. I'm going to defeat gluttony too. I'm going to. And that's a big one. We don't talk about that in that video, but we don't really understand how gluttony really is plaguing the world. They're killing us through the food. Our overconsumption of food and bad foods, unclean foods that God commanded us in Leviticus not to eat. So the lust will lead you to intermarry with unbelievers, abominable, snake, Jezebelish spirited men and women that thrive off greed and will set you up by luring you in with sex, and boom. So I wrote all this out, y'all. And boom, she got her other man there to rob you and off you, or boom, you open the door for the man to come in your house, F you, steal from you, assault your kids. This is everything I wrote for my notes. Because this is what happens. We open the door for the devil, and then he comes in stealing from us. Killing us, destroying you, destroying your kids, stealing your car, stealing your money, stealing everything, stealing your peace, your happiness, your joy, stealing your future, trying to take your faith. It breeds idolatry. It breeds you intermarrying with foreign women that God told you not to do. God been told them throughout the whole Bible, don't intermarry with women, them Canaanite women, because they serve other gods. And when you serve other gods, and women have a huge impact on men. This is why the mother from Proverbs 31 told her son, don't give it, have strength, and don't get caught up into them women. They got all these people in the Bible. David, Solomon, y'all all got caught up into them Jezebelish Canaanite women, Ahab. And we'll talk about that in the Ahab Jezebel video. But what did that lead to? What did that lead to? Now, a righteous man went from being righteous to being wicked because of the wicked woman that he didn't marry. And now she's putting all her, because women have so much influence on a man because men are so lustful. They love even with Abraham's wife, with Sarah, that's why when they went down to Egypt, he like, say that you just my sister because you're beautiful. They're going to lust after you. They're going to want you. And they might end up offing me just to have you. And I don't even want to go through those problems. Many men don't even want to walk around with women that are so flashy because of the problems that it'll bring to them. Because of other men will begin lusting after their woman that they're walking with. Now it's going to put them in positions to have to fight. And some of these men aren't trying to fight. They don't want to do all of that. They don't want the attention that comes with having certain women on their arm because other men are going to lust after their woman. And that's going to put them in uncomfortable positions. We got to really think about how deep this thing goes. It goes deep. We already 52 minutes in, so it's going to obviously go over an hour because we want to talk about how to overcome lust too, but I want to finish going over these. So like I said, it will lead you to breaking all the 10 commandments. Idolatry, number one. You're going to marry these women who serve false gods. They serve gods different than you, and then they'll get you to come over trying to join their camp. No. So like I said, we already talked about it leads to molestation and the R word, which then leads to homosexuality. A lot of people who are homosexual and even the pedophiles is because of what was done to them in their childhood. It was what was done to them. They were molested too. It throws your brain off. It gives your chemical, and you have a spirit on you, and it also affects your brain. Depending on if it's a prolonged abuse, and even if it just happened one time, all it takes is one time for things to happen, and you're traumatized. You have PTSD now because of one thing. It takes one time to get traumatized. One time. It leads to soul ties to toxic people that are hard to break. Now you're staying in toxic relationships that are polluting you and your children. And when you're being polluted, and it's pollution in your household because of the toxicity, your kids are seeing it. They see mommy and daddy fighting because daddy been out cheating. Now mommy fighting him, or mama been out cheating. Now daddy coming to smoke you, or now you letting a man up in your house. Lust leading you to do these things, leading you to iniquities, leading you to just have no values, no principles, because certain things just don't have to be. You got women that's sneaking up in other women's houses. You know a woman live there, but this man is luring you in to come there. And you going, the girl, look, y'all know I watch Twisted Crimes. The wife then came home, shot the girl up. Child, it just be a mess. All because of lust. Lust, the desire to know this person, to see how they feel. Try to feel something different. I want to feel something different. Y'all know how the men want. They want to feel what a different coochie feel like. Women, we want to feel what a different one feel like, especially when you settling for a guy who don't please you, because a lot of these men don't give women orgasms. Just like the men complain about that a lot of women don't know how to give good top. And they born in the bed, or they got bad vagina too, so neither is getting satisfied. But then it comes to a point where you do find someone that satisfies you and that go above and beyond. You fixate on them and you get obsessed over them because it was so good. Oh my gosh, you did something that nobody ever did. Now I don't want you doing it to nobody else. So now you're mine. This is my pussy. Y'all know what they be saying. And we be like, this is my ick. Like, it just be a mess. And it can lead to your demise. I, by the grace of God, have made it out of these situations and flee from these people. But I could have been one of the people on that Twisted Crimes story. I could have been that. By the grace of God, I got away. And that's why I just said it's just not worth it, because all that freakiness, and like I said before, being molested, it perverts you. I've been turned out, like been freaked out. I've been freaked out. And some men too get molested. They're freaked out. They freaked out. We're freaked out because of these things that has happened, because of the lust. It freaks you out. And now when you be freaked out and you get with a guy who like that freaked out stuff, or you get with a girl who like that freaked out stuff, now she's obsessed with you. She is not letting you go nowhere. She is not letting nobody else have you. She will kill anybody just to have you. She will unalive anybody just to keep you. She will backdoor anybody. She would trade on her family. She would trade on anything. He would trade on anything to keep you around. They cannot let you go. They fixate on you and ruminate on the experience that y'all created. They're either stalking you, all this craziness. Oh man, it's just not worth it, y'all. It's not worth it, man. So like I said, it leads to toxicity, stuff going on in the house. Now all this commotion going on in the house because you didn't lust it and cheated, and you didn't lust it and did this. Now it's friction in the house. The kids feeling that, and now it's constant back and forth with y'all too, as the adults in the house. And the kids are seeing that. Now they growing up on that. They growing up now. Y'all fighting each other and all this toxicity. Now you're teaching toxicity to your kids. So now they're gonna grow up thinking it's okay. My mom, they do as they see, not as they hear. So if you have that stuff going on in your household, they too want to think that's normal. Normal is different to everybody. Normal is based on what was done in your household, what you grew up on. The environment you grew up in is what created normalcy for you. So my last effect of lust, all the former, everything else that I've been talking about in this video, all of those things can lead to chemical imbalances of the brain, which breeds depression, anxiety, unhappiness, and several other mental disorders, because the aftermath of the feelings that all of those things I previously stated causes on your body and spirit. So when these traumas happen to you, molestation, neglect from your parents, bickering with, seeing your parents bicker, or you bickering with somebody else, because even if you're of age and you're now doing the one that's bickering, it's affecting you. It's causing you to be depressed. When you found out your partner cheated on you, or they were just using you, or they don't want you, they leave you for somebody else, that causes you to feel sad. It causes you to feel like you don't matter. It causes low self-esteem, low self-worth, insecurities, all because of lust. All because of lust. Because somebody else couldn't control themselves. The lack of self-control and discipline of the flesh is why lust destroys us, because we don't have no continence. We're selfish. We just care about that, seeking the thrill. Lust, it's insatiable. All these sins, it's insatiable. The flesh is never satisfied. This is why you can't go off your fleshly desires. You have to go off your spirit. You have to have some type of boundaries in place. You have to have a threshold of how far you're willing to go just to satisfy fleshly desires. It's natural to want things because we naturally crave safety, shelter, food, love, but it's about how far you're willing to go to get those things. When is enough for you, you know? So I'm saying, so why do we allow lust to destroy us? That's what I just said. The lack of self-control, unhealed trauma, and we use trauma. We try to cope through sex. We cope through sex, drugs, alcohol. We cope through these things. Smoking, cigarettes, black mouths, whatever you smoke, eating. We eat, which leads us, like I said, it leads us to gluttony. I told y'all in that other video, when you're molested as a kid, one of the psychological effects, one of the consequences of it is it leads to obesity, because you're eating, because you've been suppressing it. When you're suppressing these feelings, where's my thing? When you're suppressing these feelings, it causes you, it has to come out. What goes in must come out. This is why it'll come out in your behavior. And part of the behavior is becoming hypersexual, eating too much, just trying to work so hard so you can avoid thinking about those traumas from the past. Having a bunch of sex so you can feel like you're in control again. Because when you've been molested, something is taken from you. You don't have the control. And now you're seeking to have control again. Because somebody made you feel like you didn't matter. It makes you feel like you didn't have no power. So now you get to a point where you're taking back control. This is what creates that Jezebel spirit on you. The need for control, dominance, power, manipulation. It will cause that. Because you like they took it to me. I'm not going to deal with this no more. You know? And it creates rebellious spirits that are attached to us. When those things happen, all those effects that I listed, when that stuff happens, it creates the rebellious spirits. Now you defiant. You going against your spirit. You know it's not right to do, but you're doing it anyway because you're being rebellious. You have a rebellious spirit on you. When you've had to be put in a box, when you've had to conform, when you've been silenced, when you've been mistreated, you become rebellious. When you finally break free, it's like, I'm going to do whatever I want. And sometimes you get to a point, that's what the satanic agenda is all about. Satanists, they're rebelling against God's laws and ordinances. It's rebellion. But we don't realize that God set things up. This is why he didn't want fornication. He don't put stuff in place to hurt us. It's never to harm us. It was never to harm us. But when you have rebellious spirits that's going against their laws because of their own greed, because of their pride, because they think that they God and have these godly complexes, and people are many humans, we think we are God. We think we have this most power, but when really we don't have as much power as we think we do, because if we did, we would be able to control our lives and our circumstances a lot better than we do, you know? So unhealed trauma, the lack of self-control, rebellious spirits that are attached to us, and not being mindful of what we're consuming via our portals. That's how lust destroys us. So now let's get into how to overcome lust, because we taking it in. We done took it over an hour. And I need to go to the stove. So how to overcome lust. Number one, first and foremost, is the fear of God. Humbling yourself before God. Being more excited to please God than to please your flesh, than to please the fleshly made people that's around you that completely disobey God every chance they get because they feel that they're superior to God. They don't see that God is sovereign. They don't see the true intentions and the plans for your life. When you really, I'm going to do another video about that, of what does it mean to serve God. Because we like to serve everybody else around us. We like to please everybody else around us. But we don't want to please God, the waymaker, the creator, the one who created everything. We don't want to please him. So the fear of God, fearing that if I do this, I'll upset God. I told y'all that in my celibacy video. I don't want to, because celibacy, I'm gonna get there in a minute. But I don't want to hurt God. I don't want to disobey him. I built this relationship with him. We've made a covenant, and I don't want to let him down. That people pleaser spirit that I used to have with humans and with the world, now I have that with God. I don't want to let him down. I want to please him, because we are supposed to be living to please him. We're supposed to honor him. And when you honor somebody, you want to do what they say. The same way you honor your parents, you're supposed to be honoring God, and your parents too are supposed to be honoring God. And a lot of us dishonor God every chance we get. But the number one way to overcome lust, fear of God, and humbling yourself before him, and when you humble yourself before him and you seek to please him, and every day, and you build that relationship with him, you get granted eternal life. Life is beautiful for you. It's not going to say it's going to be perfect, but it's beautiful for you. You don't have to wait till you get to heaven to experience heaven on earth. You can experience heaven on earth. A lot of people are experiencing hell on earth because of the iniquities of their forefathers, the demonic oaths that were signed from your forefathers, and the demonic sins that you continue to do and never repent. You don't pray. You don't repent. You don't turn away from your wicked ways. We don't turn away from our wicked ways. We don't really be seeking to please God. A lot of people are lukewarm. You one foot in, one foot out. You worldly. You still want to be of the world. You still want to fit in with the world. But yet you say you love God. You want to please God. But yet you still so pressed to fit in with the world because of who you hanging around and what you're consuming, which is we want to get to that too. So, number one, how to overcome lust. The fear of God, humbling yourself before him, seeking to please him. Number 2, becoming yourself before him, seeking to please him. Number 2, becoming disciplined. Take control over your own body. Actively resist the urges. Actively resist them. You're going to get the urges sometimes. Actively resist it. Practice discipline. And this is something that you want to practice in your single season, because if you can practice being disciplined in your single season, when you get into a relationship or when you marry someone, those things will follow you. If you can't control yourself now, you so lustful now, and you don't do nothing to change that, that's going to follow you into your relationship. And it's going to bring havoc into your relationship. This is why when you're single, you're supposed to work on yourself. You're supposed to become better. You're supposed to do the most healing. You're supposed to do everything in your single season. This is why when you have a breakup, stop jumping person to person. You're not even healing. I don't care if you already started to, what they love to say, I started checking out from the relationship long before I actually left. Okay, but now you're dealing, once the relationship actually ends, you're still in like a grieving state, whether you want to admit to it or not, because subconsciously you want to tell yourself, on a conscious level, you want to tell yourself, I'm over it. I'm just ready for something else. I'm ready to jump on another penis. I'm ready to jump to another woman. But yet, you end up bringing those same insecurities into the new relationship. You bring them same traumas that you haven't healed from into the new relationship. You trauma dump onto the new relationship. And then that might run the person off. Everybody's not mentally capable of handling other people's traumas like that and the insecurities that come with that. It is a turn off me. I cannot handle an insecure man. I despise it, because you're not going to emotionally abuse me or verbally abuse me, because you mentally abuse me with your games and your manipulation you play, all because of your own insecurities, because you don't feel good enough for me. You're not going to do that. So when you have insecurities like this, you need to work on that, because you're going to project that onto your next relationship. You want to become the best version of yourself during your single season, so that you don't take those same bad habits into your new relationship. That's going to lead to that relationship crumbling. And then you're going to do the same thing, and then the same thing. Anything you struggle with in single season, you're going to struggle with it in a relationship, in a marriage. This is why many women, you think walking down the aisle with that man is going to change him. Oh, when we get married, it's just going to all of a sudden change everything about him. No, people already know. If you accepted me for who I was before the marriage, people don't change overnight, for one. It doesn't happen like that. Constant work every day is what brings growth and what brings change. What you do on a daily basis is what grows you, is what changes you. You can't just be like, oh, I'm going to work on myself today. And then, all right, I'm going to come back 3 months now, and then I'm going to start working on myself again. I'm going to start seeking therapy. I'm going to start seeking my relationship with God. I'm going to start reading my word. I'm going to start turning away from my wicked behaviors. I'm going to stop lusting after these women. I'm going to stop hitting them up, seeing if I still got it. You got to do that now. You got to do that now. You don't, why? And people just want to see if you still got it. Like, why? If you're really confident in yourself, you know who you are. You know that you always got it. I didn't had it since a youngin. I got that effect. I got that effect. I don't need to see if I still got it. I know I still got it. If I get back into that world, I'ma still have it. I'ma still have it. But do I want to be in that world? No. I don't need to see if I still got it. I don't want to even have it. I know what having it led me to the last time. I don't want none of that. I'm not even interested. You know? And this is a scripture. I'm gonna probably just throw some scriptures up there, but this is one that I had put here, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verses 3-5. It says, if it is God's will that you should be sanctified, that you should avoid sexual immorality, that each of you should learn to control your own body in a way that is holy and honorable, not in passionate lust like the pagans who do not know God. So you want to have self-control. You want to have self-control. You need to learn how to have continence. That's what self-control is. Continence is self-control. You need to learn how to manage those urges. So, number 1, fear of God, humbling yourself. Number 2, becoming disciplined, taking control over your own body. Number 3, practicing chastity. Practicing chastity. The only way to win against lust is to flee from it, run far away from it. You can't try to fight with it. It's going to win over you every time if you're not disciplined. You got to just flee from it. Let that thing go. Let it go. And practice celibacy. Practice semen retention. For the guys, I mean, really celibacy is all of it, but practice retention, especially for the guys, practice semen retention. Start watching semen retention videos on YouTube. The fourth thing is celibacy, like I just said there. And celibacy is a spiritual gift that brings closeness to the Lord. Celibacy is to voluntary. This is what celibacy means. It means to voluntarily remain single without regret and with the ability to maintain controlled sexual impulses so as to serve the Lord without distraction. That's why I say I'm celibate. I have no desire to be married. I have no desire to give myself to no one anymore. I have dedicated myself to the Lord. I only want to give myself to him. I want to focus on what he has me here to do, answer the call of my life, and completely walk out in the ways of him. I'm seeking to please him. I don't want to no longer indulge in things and people because, like I told y'all in the celibacy video, it leads you, when you focusing on all that other stuff, it takes you away from your own purpose. It takes you away from your own work of what you should be doing. If you're not controlled within it, and even still, it's just natural to be distracted when you have a partner, because even when you have them, they're going to want to watch movies. They're going to lay up. They want to hang out. They're going to do this, and it takes you away from you focusing. When you with somebody, unless they, especially if you're not equally yoked and they don't fear God like you do, they don't have a prayer life like you do, they don't care about that, and they're not willing to join you in that. This is why you cannot be unequally yoked with folks, because they will take you away from your faith instead of you bringing them into your faith. 9 times out of 10, the person who's the unbeliever, they have that demonic stronghold. They have that demonic power. And if you're spiritually weak, a demonic force will take over you, which is why it'll be easier for them to take you away from your faith versus you bringing them to yours. And a lot of times these people, they don't want to pray with you. They don't want to read the Bible with you. They don't want to go to church with you. They don't want to practice God's laws with you. So they'll get you to coming over to their side. Like we see with the people in the book. Solomon, you married them Canaanite women. You married them foreign women. And they, instead of you converting them, you trying to save them, you thinking that you can get with them and I'll be able to save them. Nah. They had more power over you. They like, nah, you come over here. Start building high places to our God. Start serving our God. And it turned his heart away from the Lord, his God, the Almighty, the Sovereign One. You know? So that's why I don't masturbate. I don't do nothing. When you practice in celibacy, there's no masturbation. There's no playing the rose toy, playing fingering around, whatever else y'all do to masturbate. Because I never masturbated. So I talked about that in my celibacy video. But I'm just not into it. I want that raw meat. I don't want to play no games. I want my man. I can get a man to do those pleasurable things to me. And I'd rather feel his wet mouth on me, his warm, wet mouth, and his warm skin, soft skin from his meat on me if I'm gonna have something. So I don't really like toys. I'm not a toys girl. I want that, skin to skin. You know. But I ain't even doing that. So I told you I'm 2 years celibate. And I'm so proud of myself, and I'm so happy because this is the longest I've ever been. And I just hope to keep going in my journey. And one thing about this is when you understand like spiritual attacks, sometimes they'll try to attack you in your dreams. And you'll have a dream about something, about having sex or something. And this is why you gotta learn how to fight spiritually, say a certain type of prayers to protect you in your dreams, because that's when you're vulnerable in your dreams. So the enemy will come in and start doing stuff. So that'll be later on down the line when we talk about deliverance from these spiritual attacks. A good book, I haven't even read it yet. I've been reading this other book, but y'all should order this book. I read a little bit of it, but it's Deliverance from Demonic Covenants and Curses. So y'all definitely should read this. I haven't read all of it, but what I have read so far is good because I've been reading this other book that's similar about this about this realm, about the spiritual realm and everything. Because we're really facing real spiritual attacks. The enemy is on us hard. And especially the more you try to do right, the enemy is going to be on you even more harder. And that's why you got to keep your foot on his neck to trample on that serpent. God gave us the power and authority to trample on serpents, and we must do so. So we almost done here. So the next thing, so number 5, put that energy into growing closer to the Lord so he can heal you. He can reveal your purpose, why your soul was called into human form. Seek that intimacy with him. Build that relationship with him so he can give you the ancient secrets on how to fight these attacks. So he can give you the courage. So you can find wholeness within him. All those voids, you're trying to fill these voids with all these materialistic things, these worldly things that will only lead to more unhappiness. It will never fulfill you. Many people, look at your artists, your celebrities, had millions of dollars, had everything. They could buy anything they want, and they're still unfulfilled. They're still unhappy. They still have voids within them because of a lot of things from their childhood that they haven't faced, a lot of things that's going on in their life, the spiritual attacks that's on them. They have not been able to face it. They had not been able to conquer it. So in turn, they wanted to take their own life. You find true peace and happiness and wholeness when you surrender to God and want to live in the will that he has for you. When you really humble yourself and understand that you're not living for you, you're living to please God. He has a purpose for you, and you need to walk out in that purpose. It brings a different type of humility upon you when you learn that. Because he's going to teach you your worth. He's going to reveal to you who you are and everything. Like I always talk about in the videos about like what the purpose of a spiritual journey is to find your identity. It's to build your relationship with God so he can reveal to you who you are, why you are that way, and who he called you here to be, period. It's very healing. God, when you get that relationship with God, he can heal you like no therapist will ever be able to. I don't see no therapist, baby. It's God. Yes, I still have my stuff I got to work on, but overall, I found peace and wholeness. I stopped looking for validation from men. I stopped using my body as a means to get what I want because I know I can put it down on you. I know I can do this. I know I can do that. I stopped using that because I don't need to do that stuff no more. I don't need to fill voids through using my body, having sex all over the place and all that. I don't need to do that. I found wholeness now through building my relationship with God, through being so close, through my prayer life, through reading his word. I tell y'all all the time in my videos, reading the Bible really brings me comfort. It brings me understanding. It gets me to learn. I already know who God is, but I really get confirmation of who he is and who I know he is through reading his word. And it has brought me into my purpose. And it's really just a newfound confidence in me that I now have. So the last thing is how to overcome lust is to change your environment, because your environment is the reason you are the way you are. It influences. Your environment has heavy influence on you. So avoid situations that will easily tempt you. Going to strip clubs, going to parties, having these wild orgies, going places to get drunk with all the attention, that flashiness. Avoid those places. Avoid what you're watching. Pay attention to what you're consuming through your eye gates, through your ear gates. Change your whole environment. Your environment is everything from what you watch to what you listen to who you're seeing, to who you're hanging around, to what you're putting in your body. Change your environment. Change your environment. Change your circle. Stop hanging out with unequally yoked friends. Get out of these unequally yoked relationships because they're always, like I said, they're going to pull you closer to what they want you to do versus you being able to pull them closer to what you want to do. Because what you want to do, many people are of the world. So when you come out the world, it's harder to bring people out of the world because people love the materialisms and all the worldly things that the world has to offer, with material possessions, with flashiness, with the glitz and the glam. The attention that comes with being in the world. Because people have a need for attention. They ain't never got attention when they was young. They was the outcast. They was not seen. And even if they was popular back then, they still want to be popular now, still carrying on these high school mentalities. And when you do that, you're still seeking validation from the world. And like I said, for which should it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? If you could gain all these material things and lose who you are, which also ultimately still ends up leading you to suffering. When you try to be something you're not, your subconscious knows and it feels it. Who you are in the inside when you go home from all these wild events and from hanging around with your friends, you can't even sit with yourself because you don't know yourself and you don't like who you really are when you take that mask off that you present and wear out to the world every day. So change your circle. Stop hanging with unequally yoked friends / unbelievers. Don't even hang with lukewarm believers, because lukewarm believers are people who believe in God, but they don't follow God. They don't take no effort to try to follow God. They believe in God. They might pray. They might know some Bible scriptures. They might post godly posts all the time. They might call on God when they're in suffering, but they don't diligently try to please God. They look at God as a genie. They believe in him because they may have experienced and know, but they the type who just use God. When he do what you want, then it's like, all right, oh, it is real. Like, it is a supernatural being. God is real. They know of God, but they don't know him and they don't care to please him. And that's why I said we're going to talk about that in the video about what does it mean to really serve God. And it's not too, we're human. We're going to do human things. But ultimately, it's about how far you're willing to go. How far you're willing to go. So stay away from them lukewarm believers, because they'll be at church with you. You could probably go to church with them, but after church, they're like, come on, girl, come down here, go to the strip club with me. Come on, girl, go. We're going to put our church Sunday's best on. But then after church, girl, we is headed up to the pool party up here, and we're going to wear these thong bathing suits out so we can entice all the men up here. And then we're going to go home with these men. Or even at the church, girl, wear this tight outfit to church, because I've been looking at the pastor, and I've been looking at whoever else is in the board of the church. And I'm looking at him and I see his wife and I feel like I'm better than his wife and I should have her spot. So let's go wear this up there. Let's send little winks while he up there giving a sermon. When I go up there to give my offering or whatever, let me a Bible study. Let me slide my number. Let me, child, those are lukewarm believers. Those are lukewarm believers. And there's a lot of that plague in the church. Like I said in the scripture in Revelation, you got Jezebel. You let this harlot Jezebel up in the church. And she leading the people. Many Jezebels have been in church, lusting after the pastor. Oh, bishop. Oh, child. I even see it on Bishop R.C. Blake's channel, because he's a pastor or whatever. And women be lusting after that man. He do look good for his age, but he's married. And one thing I don't play about, I just don't like second. I don't play second best to nobody. So I don't care if you're legally married with the government or if you're spiritually married because you're living with a man. Y'all ain't on the government paper, but y'all have a what they call a common law marriage. Y'all have to understand that there's a reason why there's a such thing as common law marriage, because ultimately that's what really marriage is. This government having a contract, God is covenants, the enemy is contracts. It's binding agreement. But a covenant is supposed to hold more weight than a physical contract, paper and pen. Because before paper and pen was even created, it was a verbal agreement, a verbal contract, which is a covenant. It's a promise that's made between two. I went into covenant with God I went into covenant with God. When I surrendered my life, I went into covenant with him. I made an agreement. We made an agreement. You gonna do this for me, and I'm gonna do this for you. My word is bond. God's word is bond. This is why word is bond, because that's a covenant. You're coming into agreement. You're coming into agreement. It's an exchange. You getting something, I'm getting something. In the Bible, they had covenants. They had covenants. Even nowadays, when you're doing these sacrifices, like I said with the abortion and stuff, you're going into a covenant. And a covenant ultimately holds more weight. And it's harder to break. It's easy to break a covenant depending on what type. It's easy to break up because if you go against your word, then it's like it's a betrayal. It's like you went against the grain. You went against the covenant. The oath, the whole reason they do oaths in church and all of that, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. If you break that oath and you come back and found that you were lying, that's perjury under law, because your word is supposed to be bond. So we'll talk about that later. But so yeah, change your circle. Don't be with people, even family members, if they aren't on the path that you're on, if they don't have self control, and you don't. And I'm not gonna say if they don't have self control. If you don't have self control, you can't hang around the people. If you're easily influenced, you can't hang around them people. If they them drinking and taking drinks and getting all wild and doing all the stuff that they do. If you can't be around that and still have some order to yourself and have continence, have that control over yourself, be disciplined. You don't need to be around them because they're going to easily suck you in. And they're going to be offering, hey, you want this? You want to drink? You want to come here? You want to do this? Like, then you're going to fall into it. So you have to close the doors to what you consume. Close the doors to what you consume via your gates. Change what you're watching. Stop watching them flicks. Stop watching. Unfollow all the IG baddies with the big booties showing all over the place. Unfollow that stuff. Stop watching certain shows that's promoting those certain things, that's opening the doors for that lustful spirit to leach back onto you, or that's going to entice it. Stop watching the movies. Stop watching anything. Stop watching it. Cut it all. Go watch something about healing. Go watch something about how to get your life together. Watch motivation videos. Watch business videos. Watch if you're trying to up a level in your career. Watch videos about that. Watch spirituality videos. Read your Bible. Learn how to fix them. Learn how to do some new stuff you ain't never did before around your house. Make some. Do something. Spend more time with your children. Exert that energy somewhere else that's conducive to your spiritual growth, to controlling those demons that's on you. Okay? So that's all I have for this video. I made it a little longer than I wanted to, but yeah, you guys, we have to understand how deep this is. Lust leads to a bunch of madness. A bunch of madness. You got the girls, as soon as they see, that's why they changed that IG feature when you can see who your man liking, or who your friends, your followers, who pictures they liking, and that'll bring a bunch of insecurities. This is why a lot of the girls, they get jealous of other women. They see their man liking these type of pictures, so they're like, well, you like these, you always liking these big booty Judies, you always liking these pictures, women who dress like this, women who look like this. So then they'll end up wanting to conform and like, let me go get my body done, because you obviously ain't happy with what I got because you keep looking over there with that girl got. So let me look like her. It breeds insecurity. It breeds insecurity and make you not feel worthy. You are worthy. You are worthy. Whether a person wants you or not, you're still worthy, because the person that's meant for you, that God called here for you, they will love you just the way you are. They will love you. So don't let nobody make you feel like you're unworthy, because they are incapable of loving you the way you need to be loved. Okay? So I'll see you guys in the next video. Understand that God loves you and He wants the best for you. He's not putting these stipulations in place, these laws and rules in place to hurt you. You're not experiencing the things, the losses that you have experienced in life just because He wants to hurt you. No, it's to teach you lessons, and you must learn the lessons. You must learn the lessons. Okay? So I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope y'all got something out of this video. And yeah, so enjoy the rest of y'all day.